Hey there, welcome to the channel. Hey, I just want to share with you a fairly quick video on how to adjust your valves. This is for a KTM 450 EXC or the 500 EXC, probably SX models, things like that, and also the Huskies of those sizes as well. You can do it yourself. It's not that hard. I demonstrated here. This bike has about 237 hours on it, which is a lot. It's never been adjusted. I bought it used. As far as I know, it hasn't been adjusted. I measured them before. They're a little bit tight, which tells me they need to be adjusted. So watch it and let me know what you think. And if you like the video, give me a like, thumbs up, and or subscribe if you like. I don't do this to make money. I don't have a Patreon channel. I just do it for fun and for information. I'm learning how to make videos, and I hope you enjoy them. And yeah, check it out. Tell me what you think. Leave a comment. See if we can do it ourselves. I have adjusted valves many times, but usually on the kind that have nuts and bolts adjusters that go in and out, but not the kind that use these little cam discs. And so, yeah, well, that's what we're going to do today. Okay, I got my tools set out here. Got my sockets, things. I may need more, but just lay them out quickly here for taking the bike apart, because first of all we have to take off the seat, we got to take off the tank, we're gonna have to disassemble and move some things around, so the bike's gonna be all over to try to get to that the valve cover there and get that off there. So I've got like I said, my sockets. I've got my kind of newish DeWalt wrench, impact driver. Got a couple things. This is a micrometer here, basically a simple one. This one is actually, if I can get it to focus, is metric. And then I have a real micrometer. These are from my leftover from my printing days. This one's very old, probably antique. It's was my dad's. I'm just going to wipe that down and again keep any debris from falling in there, foreign materials. I'm going to have to change that that O-ring or the seal that goes in there, but we'll take a look. Kind of interesting shaped bolts here, so don't misplace those because you will not be able to replace them with anything but the original. Pull this right off now. There it is. Got our camshaft, cam chain, our roller rockers in here, and then the valves are below that. Is that? But basically, exhaust is 12 or 13 to 17 millimeters, and then the intake is 10 to 13, 10 to 15. Depends on what you look at, but I think if we try to get it around 14 and 12, should be fine. Anywhere in between those is going to work great. So I need to get it to top dead center. There's a little mark on here you'll see on the cam chain sprocket, and you want to line that up at the top. So what I'm going to do is just get it into 6 gears so I can move the back wheel. Okay, looks like I got it up all the way. I got my feeler gauges here. So what I'm looking for is to get, again, there's a dot here. I'll zoom in on that in a second, and we'll get that lined up with the top. There's another, I'm just going to get that cleaned up there around the outside, and I'm going to get my feeler gauge. I'm going to go in there with what I think it should be around 12. 12 is going to be even kind of tight. So I've got a 13, I've got 11, got a 12 there. So Let's see if I can get that in between the top of my, let me zoom in again. Let's see if I can get it in between there. This is the rocker arm, and this is the top of the actual valve spring there. We've got a little, and you've got in there your little spacer. That'll be the thing that we'll need to change if it's off. So you've got your exhaust on this side, and then you've got your intake over here, because obviously you got your intake here coming in, your fuel injection, and coming out to your exhaust there. So that's pretty easy to figure out, and it's a single cam system, so it's got the lobes actuating, well, kind of like on a car. If you've got a 4-cylinder or a straight 6, you've got one cam running down the middle of it. So basically I've got, you might measure this a different way, but I've got the right side and the left side there, and then I've got the exhaust is on the top, intake is on the bottom. So that's just oriented to what they are here, right? And so now I can make my calculations for what size of shims I want to put in there. And then I got to take it apart and actually put them in there. That's the tricky part. Okay, so on the right side of your bike, facing forward, you've got these two Torx nuts, or bolts. Those are holding your rocker arms. So should be able to loosen these and take that out of there. I'll loosen this one too. I'm going to do one at a time, but I'm just going to loosen it now. Okay, so then you need to find a bolt with that thread on it to insert in there. I'm going to grab one, and then we can pull that out of there. Okay, so I found a bolt that fits that camshaft there. Okay, if you look on top of here, you'll see these. I've got my bolt in there, right, ready to pull it out, but right on top of there, there's a little bolt, okay? And there's one on each top, and there's one on the other side as well. So you need to pull all 4 of those, get those loose, because it's holding that lifter, or the rocker arm, shaft in place. So we're going to pull this one out, we're going to pull this one out, and then over on this side, crazy music going in the background, we're going to pull these 2 out as well, right here and right here. Now if I do this right, maybe if I did it right, this should come out of there. And there's a tiny little, it's good to note that there is a tiny, and I mean tiny, little mark right on the top there. You see that little mark? I want to make sure that's facing straight up when you put it back in. Okay, so I've got that out. Now I can pull the wires out of the way here, hopefully. And just lift that out of there. Okay. So there's my roller. This should be nice and tight. You shouldn't have any play in that. If it is, you have to replace this whole thing, because these bearings are basically not replaceable. But it feels good. So you can see there's the top, there's your spring, your valves inside of that, right? And then on top of that, right at the tip of my finger, you've got that shim in there. And the best way to pull that out is with a magnet. So let's give it a shot here. I was going to give my max, no, not my max clearance, it's 215. Yeah, let's go with that. So I'm going to go with a 2.0, and then we'll measure it again. Okay, that's on one side. Okay, so now we're doing the left side intake. So we'll pop that back in there. Okay, there it is. Got it popped back in there. Okay, so that's about in the right spot. We got the okay. How's that feel? I'm gonna go ahead and put those bolts back in there just to make sure everything's secure before I measure it again. There's no way that could turn that many times. And I'm going to measure those again, and hopefully it's going to be somewhere around 12 to 13. Bike has, I wrote it down somewhere here, it's the first time it's ever been truly adjusted, not just measured, as far as I understand. And we've got, that was 237 hours on it. I went ahead and torqued these two bolts here that are on the top, and I put my little end cap back in. So this one is done now, and you can feel a little bit of, hear that clicking? That's what you should be hearing. If you're not getting any clicking, there's a problem. So on this side, we're getting some side to side, so I feel like, so you can feel that it's loose, but there isn't much clicking there back and forth. So now I'm going to go ahead and do the same thing. I'm going to pull these out, pull that off, do the exact same thing. I'm going to measure those, and I'm going to put my shims in there. So I don't think I need to film anymore just to waste your time to watch me do that side. But you'll want to make sure, again, like I did, you measure both sides, write it down, and then you're going to pull this out, and you're going to determine what you want it to be, which is about, I think on this one, 13 to 17, something like that. You'll want to make sure you get that right. And then you're going to divide those numbers and find a shim that's going to give you a little bit more valve clearance in there. Yeah, and so I'm going to go ahead in with that. And then once I do that, if I feel like it's measured well, I'm going to pop my cap back on there, my valve cover back on there, and reconnect everything and fire it up, see how it runs. And yeah, it's good to, once I get all this done, just go ahead and measure it one more time, check everything. Maybe slightly loose. I could have gone down 1 or 2 tenths of a millimeter on that, but I'm going to go with that and see how that does. Yeah,